Welcome to another exciting episode of the Epic Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Brad Sugars, the Chairman and CEO of Action Coach, and today we're diving into the minds of some credible business leaders, uncovering their real stories, strategies, and the secrets behind their victories. It's not just about success, it's about the journey, the hurdles, and turning challenges into opportunities. So let's jump right into it.
Today, we are thrilled to welcome not one, but two guests, Paul Atkinson and Glyn Mummery, both partners from FRP Advisory and specializing in restructuring. Both Paul and Glyn, as part of the firm, have taken the division from 30 million to over 130 million since 2010. Paul and Glyn, it's great to have you with us today. Let's go back to the beginning, guys. And how has your journey been, and what lessons can you share with professionals on a similar journey?
Oh, hi, Simac. Firstly, thank you very much for having something on your podcast. It's truly an honour. Sometimes don't necessarily see yourselves as being entrepreneurs, so it's nice to be recognised and appreciate that. So thank you very much. I think for both of us, it's been quite an exciting journey. And when we go back to the beginning, the firm that we worked for was very different to where we are now. You've charted the success since 2010, but Paul and I have had the pleasure of working together since 1994, 30 years now. At that stage, it was four of us in a very small office in a regional part of London, and we've worked together, got involved in insolvency, so enjoyed it together, and have taken it forward since then.
Right. And how has that journey been? I mean, what kind of lessons you've learned along that journey? It's been, 30 years. You'll have both worked with each other. I'm pretty sure you'll are competitive also. And you'll work together as a well-oiled machine. So what's that been like? I mean, what kind of lessons what are the top three things you have learned, Glyn?
Right. I was about to say tolerance as one. Obviously, being working with Paul for 30 years, tolerance is hugely important. Bearing in mind as a West Ham fan, that was clearly very important. But no, more seriously, the first one, and this applies to, I think, people in the professional services sector in which we operate. You need to be qualified in your skill to truly progress. So it's looking at the trade you have within the professional services sector, making sure that you get the right qualifications, making sure that you develop the right network of people to support you. So number one is that identifying the skills and your network to enable you to succeed. So that would be my first point. The second is the commitment required. And whether you want to describe that as being relentless in your pursuit, or indeed whether you are looking to make sure that commitment is, turning up every day, doing the right thing for your clients, doing the right things for yourself, and being focused on what your goals are, and knowing how to be successful. And then the final one is sacrifice. Knowing that you can't necessarily have it all, knowing that there are points along your life that you will need to say, right, what am I looking to try to achieve here? What is the noise around the outside? Perhaps your mates are calling you saying, can we go out? Can we do this? But knowing that actually, do you know what? You do need to qualify. You do need to develop your network, and you simply can't do it all. So being prepared to make sacrifices along the way to achieve your goals and your success.
Brilliant. I like the last one, sacrifice. You always have to, once you set a goal, you have to see what you have to pay forward and sacrifice, right? So what about you on the personal front? How did you balance that off? Because it seems to be a very core value for you, Glyn.
You need to have an understanding family as well. And it's part of a team, even on the home front, understanding what the ultimate goal is and what success looks like. So that is a key part. Very much a key part, but then, as I said, it's personally, it's understanding your goals, and I think you've got to enjoy what you're doing and really want to get to where you want to get to, in order that sacrifice perhaps doesn't seem that great at the time. Because so long as you're focused on something, you're enjoying it, then almost that sacrifice does become, I think, slightly easier than if you weren't enjoying something.
Paul, what about yourself, Paul?
I think it's always been I've been very lucky, I think, doing something I enjoy. My my dad said to me very early on, as I was leaving school, if I could find a job that I was looking forward to going to on a Sunday evening, then that's worth more than money. And it's been very true. I wouldn't say I'm always leaping around and doing cartwheels on a Sunday evening because I'm looking forward to going to work. When I'm working with Glyn, clearly I'm always looking forward to it. But I've always looked forward to coming to work. So I think doing something you enjoy is key, and being prepared to learn. Making yourself a better whoever you are. I've always wanted to try and be the best Paul I can be, and you do that by learning. Having the right people around you as well. And I think I've heard Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool Football Club manager, say this. He'll say that he doesn't know everything, and I absolutely don't know everything. But it's having the right people and the good people around that makes a strong team.
Including Glyn, right?
Including Glyn, of course. Yeah.
And when you talk about right people and good people, it brings me back to, I think you'll mention you'll won the BizX award, which I can see at the back out there. And what was that? What is for culture? Yes. So tell me what does that mean for your division, FRP Restructuring, and what it really means? How long did it take you all to get that?
Well, we first entered the company culture category around 6 years ago, and we were sitting at the awards dinner. It's always the first category to be judged, so it's kind of quite nice. It's early on, and we were sitting at the table, and they announced the category, and logos went up onto the screen, and we were not even shortlisted, and we were, well, very disappointed. I think it's probably the best way. Hugely disappointed, and I lost my appetite. I couldn't eat. So we went away. We dusted ourselves down. We had a good look at what we were doing, and we got the confidence again this year to enter once more. We felt confident in our ability to be able to put a good entry together, and so there we are sitting again at a table in a tuxedo with the logos going up onto the screen, and we were absolutely delighted to see our logo go onto the screen as being shortlisted. That was, frankly, for us, we'd won at that point. I know for me, I was still kind of celebrating being shortlisted, and almost missed them reading our name out and putting FRP up on the big screen. And then, to be honest, I lost the next 10 minutes. I really can't remember getting up, going on the stage, being presented with the award. I think you hear footballers refer to the phrase buzzing, and now I think I know what they mean. I think I was buzzing.
Yeah, and likewise. And
that's brilliant.
If we go, I mentioned that Paul and I have been working together for 30 years. We've always enjoyed a really good working relationship together and with our team, and we've always felt that we've had a really sort of good culture. It's certainly in the last since 2010 when it's been more Paul and I focusing on it. We believe that's developed well, and we felt disappointed in when we first entered because we thought surely this should be recognised. So it was a little bit of a kick then. So we came back, and as Paul said, we dusted ourselves down, but we introduced a lot at that stage. We really had a good look, listened to our staff and our work colleagues, worked on just their environment and what it was like for them to come to work, not just ourselves. So getting this award has been a huge recognition for that hard work, and it's not just our hard work by any stretch of the imagination. This was an award for the team. This was an award for all the managers here, for all the staff, for all the levels, about the environment that we have all tirelessly worked together over the last 5-6 years to ensure is a really good place to work for everybody.
Brilliant. And Glyn, has this culture now Is it across the whole company, or is it very specific to your division in restructuring?
And in terms of what we focus on, is our restructuring division here in Brentwood that I would say is most reflective of, and this is where this would be where we feel most confident talking about it as well.
Brilliant. And let's talk about. Paul, you mentioned about learning, right? And Glenn, you also mentioned having the right skills, but also brushing up. How important is that in just for your business or for your practice, as well as for the team?
It's hugely important. Given the day job, it's a technical job. We have the Insolvency Act, the insolvency rules. We have different statements in insolvency practice, case law. So there's a lot of legislation that we need to know that you learn when you pass the exams. But once you've learned that, then as part of being an entrepreneur, there's a huge amount of learning. And I could be the best insolvency practitioner, but it doesn't make me a business owner or an entrepreneur. And so being prepared to learn how to run a business, how to manage people, how to look after the team, work with your colleagues, that's huge, and that's certainly something that we've always benefited from with our coaching.
Brilliant. Let's talk about enjoyment, right? You're both football fans, Manchester United and West Ham. How do you actually wrap up things you enjoy doing in your business and life?
Time management. You've always got to make. You got to make time for what you enjoy. Yeah, you absolutely have to. You absolutely have to. And again, it was, I think, something we learned through Action Coach, that it's hugely important to take that time out to get away from your business, to effectively re-energize yourself. And the best way to re-energize yourself is through enjoyment. So identifying what you enjoy, whatever that might be. In truth, as a Manchester United fan at the moment, watching football might not be the best enjoyment in this world. So I can then go to golf, which, if you can see my golf game, could also be a little bit disappointing as well. But it's just finding the things that you do like, focusing on them, trying to forgetting about work, allowing your body basically to regain its strength, so you can focus again and push on forward.
Yes, excellent. Paul, what about yourself, Paul?
Yeah, I think you've got to make sure that you find time for yourself. I think is really important. You've mentioned West Ham, so I'm going to mention them again. So we're currently a little bit below Man United in the Premier League. Not a great deal for me to shout about. I play a bit of golf as well, not as regularly as Glyn, I'll say.
Who's a better one of you all two?
Different handicap, but Simak, it depends which handicap you're playing off. I'll always want to take six shots off Glyn. So typically, if we go out and then someone says to me, "What's your handicap?" I say, "Well, 6 more than whatever Glyn's playing himself off." Which is, yeah. But I think it's fair, isn't it? Yeah, it's fair.
No comment.
But health, being healthy. I think I try and find time in the morning to find some time to either do some exercise or do some stretching, or just at least getting some fresh air before I come to the office. Typically, unless I pop out for a sandwich or a lunchtime, you could just easily spend 9 hours in an air-conditioned office all day, which isn't good every day. So finding time to get out and get some exercise is always very important.
And also,
we encourage that. We encourage that around the office. We have walking groups and we have running groups, and then we do yoga and massages. It's just important, all part of the well-being.
Sounds like a fun place to be. Excellent. So, just coming back to my next question, in your line of work, right? You have seen businesses that I would say have a natural ability to lose money. What kind of advice do you all have for business owners?
Yeah, definitely. Most business owners know their trade. Say you decide to make a widget. You can make a pen. You can make the best pen ever. that everybody's going to want. But unless you know the numbers within your business, you could very quickly run into trouble. And I have a phrase, and it is cash is king and cash management is queen. And what I mean by that is it's just understanding how cash truly flows through your business, knowing when the money's going to come in. Because it's all well and good raising an invoice for all these pens that you've produced, but unless you know when that invoice is going to get paid, you don't know when you can then pay your invoices and indeed take the profit that you rightly deserve for all your hard work. And also, if you truly understand the cash movement in the business and your profit within the business, you know what is the right amount to charge for the said pen as well, because you need to get that right. So I'd always say to any business owner out there, it is hugely important to understand the financial health of your business, understand the key performance indicators of your business. What's your break-even point? What should you be charging? When do you get paid? Who have you got left to pay? And just regularly review that information to give your business the best chance of success. And what I would further add to that is that if you start your company and you're making your pen and it's going very well, and you think, I want to scale this. I want to get bigger. I need to borrow some money. I need to get investors on board. If you go to an investor and say, I've got a great idea about these pens, and they say, oh yeah, so what's the financial performance of your business? And you can't talk about it eloquently when they are questioning you, the likelihood of them investing in your business or indeed lending your business money is very, very minimal. If you've got good financial health and good financial information, it will improve everyone's confidence in your business, and especially when you're looking for outsiders to support it.
Brilliant. And who would the top, I would say, go-to people be for such a level of focus and activity in the financial side?
Sorry, Simon, could you say that again?
I said, who would the go-to people be for any business owner, to get all these things right in their business, the financial management, or looking at all these various elements of the finance side of it?
Your accountants, number one. And I say to like priority here, I wouldn't necessarily say there's a degree of priority, but a business coach. 3, Paul mentioned the need to educate yourself, the need to learn, and there are a whole plethora of courses out there about how you can understand the accounting within your business. And a lot of responsibility falls on you as an entrepreneur to truly understand understand that part of your business. Again, that comes back to that word I use, the commitment and the desire to want to do well.
Excellent. Thank you for that. All right. In all the time, since you'll have been together for 30 years, what has been the main challenge and how did you all overcome it?
Cool. That's a good question. Yeah. It's always good when West Ham beat Man United. That's the Glyn's challenge, having to come into work the next day, knowing that there's loads of happy hammers. But no, seriously, it's a good question.
Businesses ebb and flow, and I think from my perspective, some of the biggest challenges have been is when there's been change, and you've got to embrace change. Along the way in that 30 years, we've lost colleagues through retirement. And for other reasons, and that's been massive change. And it's recognising, as those changes take place, what the strategy is to take the business forward in those periods is. So that would be mine. Is looking, you run your business, you've got to be fluid enough to accept that change will happen, and it can happen very rapidly. We've experienced that, and it's making sure that you're as prepared as you can be, that you get a strategy as quickly as you can, you deploy it, you commit to it, and you work through it.
Yeah, and I think also, given what we do, we're, as I mentioned earlier, we're driven by legislation. So when there's a legislative change, that can be very challenging and entirely out of our control and quite often difficult to plan for. So it's being agile enough to be able to react to that change in legislation and embrace it, and also make sure the team. None of us particularly like change, do we? So when there's a legislative change, it's making sure the team are comfortable with it, because we have no choice. We can't decide whether we want to use it or not use it. We have to carry on. So changing legislation is always been a big challenge.
Okay, excellent. And just let's look at business coaching for now. When was the first time you got a business coach for your practice, and what did it do for you?
Yeah, well, it's 12 years ago, and we coached with Kent Rhodes, who sadly passed away just over 3 years ago. For me, it was the discipline that came about with coaching. It made things happen. So a 90-day plan. I mean, I've never been up till then. I'd never been a sort of a planner. Very much taking one day to the next, and it had worked. It had worked well up to then. But I fully accept that your luck runs out at some point. So it was the discipline and having a 90-day plan, and what we found is what goes on that 90-day plan happens, and sometimes our 90-day plan isn't particularly sophisticated. It could be a plain piece of A4 paper with my colour pens, but if it goes on there, it gets done. And in fact, we coached this morning. We coached with Lucas Vigilante now, and we coached this morning, and we're starting a new. We tie our 90-day plans into our financial year. So that's 30th of April. So we started yesterday with 0, and we've just started our May, June, July 90-day plan. And I get excited each time we do a new one, putting things on there, knowing that they're going to happen.
What about yourself, Glenn?
I'm going to repeat something that Paul said, but it's hugely important. It's the discipline. It's so easy to get involved in the day job. So easy to produce your widget, to come in here, work in restructuring, and get fully immersed in that side of the business, and forget that the actual business itself needs to be worked on, and you need to be thinking about the future and strategies, putting them into place. So it's the discipline of that meeting, it's the discipline of working on the business, and then coming back to that 90-day plan. It's just such a key part.
Brilliant. So it's discipline. What about accountability? Where does accountability fit in this?
Yes, well, and that accountability is a great, all of a sudden you've got a business coach and you put things on a 90-day plan, and if you haven't done it, you've got that awkward moment when it comes up in conversation, you say, yeah, we need to move that on to the next month or the next quarter. And yeah, and you know what? There is an element of embarrassment and almost shaming to make sure it gets done. But again, it's never not done for the wrong reasons. It's done because you get busy in your day job. So it's good to have that reminder that it needs to be done, and it's good to have that accountability to somebody external just to make sure it hasn't been forgotten about. And do you truly want to go through that again the next time you have a coaching session? No. So you get it done, even if it is on the same day as your coaching session. But then it's still getting done. It doesn't matter when it is, as long as it's being done.
Sure. All right. And what is the top piece of advice you got to give for any other business or professional in the similar industry?
I am going to go with something that I think is applicable to all industries. And it doesn't really matter, I think, where you are in your career either. And that is, as well as focusing on your career and on your business, also make sure you focus on your health. Make sure you look after yourself. Make sure you understand your own personal key performance indicators, and work at it. Age is relentless, and it's something that none of us escape from. And you know what? If you want the best version of you in later years, focusing on your health is crucial.
Excellent, Paul. What about yourself, Paul?
Yeah, I would say being prepared to accept that you don't know it all. So being prepared to learn and to talk to others, and keep an eye on the numbers. Just repeating what Glyn said, in any business, keep an eye on the numbers, or have someone who keeps an eye on them for you.
Brilliant. All right. Quick one. So what's the best business book you've read?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, God. the reason this is difficult because we have read a few. We do read a few. We have a book. We have a book club in the management team here. So as part of the culture, we have a book club. So and Lucas is often recommending books to us. I think for me, I think maybe because it's quite recent. I read Michael Heppel's 17, and that resonated a lot, and it was also very popular in book club. So I would say Michael Heppel 17.
What about you, Glenn?
I'm very grateful for Paul answering that question first, because it's given me the opportunity to think long and hard. And I'm going to need probably both of your help for the name of the author, but it's Never Split the Difference, which is thank you very much indeed. And negotiation is in every single part of our lives, from dealing with our family through with work, and in every aspect of our lives, as I said. And I just found that book hugely useful in breaking down the art of negotiation, and some of the tactics and some of the processes that you can use, and even to the point that you plan a negotiation. That necessarily dawned on me that you can actually sit there and plan that negotiation out.
What, with your coach?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, absolutely. But it's massively helped me in all aspects of my life.
Brilliant. Excellent. Paul and Glenn, thank you very much for coming on today. Really appreciate it.
So, thank you very much as well. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. Huge thanks to our amazing guest for pouring their heart into sharing their journey. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.